Drink beer, it's good for you.
Hello and welcome to the video. Within this video we'll be doing an initial deep dive into the new BrewMonk brewing systems, which for the first time have Wi-Fi and smart app functionality, despite still coming in at a budget price like the previous models. So let's get into it. Here is a quick look at the system from bottom to top. You will note that the system's stainless steel has a pretty high level of polish to it. The system that you see here is actually the 40-litre version, which is the smallest system of the range and is accompanied by a 50-litre and 70-litre system too. The B40 model has a total volume of 40 litres, whereas the B50 and B70 models have a total volume of 52 litres and 70 litres respectively. The B40 model allows for a recommended max boil size of 30 litres, whereas the B50 allows for 45 litres and the B70 offers 65 litres. So essentially the B40 will easily give you an output of 1 corny keg and then some, whereas the B50 will comfortably output 2 kegs worth and the B70 will comfortably output 3. Let's now look at the brewing system's features, starting at the bottom of the system where there is a panel giving you access to the power side at the top here. Below this there is this flap that stores away your power cord, which I quite like the idea of when it comes to storage, as this cable is not the removable kind. The bottom tap featured on this system is supplied complete with a lock, so that if someone or your dog accidentally knock it, then there will not be a pool of water to clean up nor burns to treat. I rather like these, and it's good to see this featured on a budget system. To enable the system's power and also the pump, there are 2 buttons on the right hand side of the controller. These buttons need positive pressure to engage, which is good, and there is a satisfying click once they are engaged. To the right side of these buttons there is this heat vents, and there is one on the opposing side too, which ensure that the electronics do not get overheated. You will also find one set of handles on each of these that are on the heavy duty side. These make moving the system around easy, though I'm unsure if it is recommended to lift this when it is full. As part of the side recirculation pipe, the new systems offer this sight glass in litres by standard, but of course you forego internal measurements. Readings are taken by the water line rather than the use of a ball, which is easier to read at a glance, but this is certainly functional. The glass lid supplied with the system is of good quality and goes beyond what I would expect from a brewing system at this price point. However, like most glass lids supplied with brewing systems these days, I expect this one would at least crack if I dropped it, so as per usual you need to be careful with it. Here is a look at an example of a grain basket supplied with these systems, which as you will see have 2 stages of lifting, which is a nice convenience. The B40 is shown here, and this one has a maximum grain capacity of 8 kilos, whereas the B50 and B70 support up to 12 and 18 kilos respectively. Do keep in mind that this is the maximum amount of grain that will fit, rather than the maximum amount of grain that can be mashed efficiently. For the B40 with its 8 kilo max capacity, I would estimate that a realistic efficient amount would be closer to 7 kilos at the most, but this remains to be tested at this stage. Within the grain basket we have this bottom plate with a centre pipe system for overflow, which is the way that used to be commonplace, but both Grainfather and Kegland have moved on from this now, favouring a pipeless design with the basket itself handling overflow. This centre pipe system certainly works though, and this one uses a telescopic pipe, as you can see here, which allows you to keep control of the overflow. As part of this grain basket system there is also a top plate provided, which features a couple of handles for lifting, as you can see. There is also a centre hole so that you can add this top plate to the top of the overflow pipe, as shown here. Let's now look at the bottom of the brewing system. As you can see, connecting to the system's bottom tap we have a basic bazooka screen filter system. The mesh is pretty fine, so this should do a reasonable job. To the left of this we have a recirculation hole, and to the right a temperature probe. Below the bottom plate of these systems the B40 has a 2.5 kilowatt heating element system, whereas both the B50 and the B70 have a more powerful total of 3 kilowatts of heating elements. The power level on each of these can be adjusted in 100 watt increments via the system's controller. So here is a look at the controller itself, starting with what you can see when you are connecting the device to your Wi-Fi, which was a very straightforward process in the same way that it is with other brewing systems on the market with Wi-Fi functionality that come in at higher price points. The Wi-Fi side of this unit is something I am yet to fully test, but plan to do so soon, and I will of course report back on this within a future video. As I understand it, the functionality to transfer a recipe via the platform itself is already in place and working, but creating recipes or transferring recipes from other platforms is still in the balance for now. The controller screen, as you can see, has pretty good resolution as well as colour and feels snappy enough when it comes to response time. Like with other Wi-Fi connected systems, you also have the benefit of easy firmware updates for the controller, which in time can add more functionality. Here is a quick look at the controller's manual mode. The controller has an easy-to-use round-robin system, and each of the parameters shown on screen can easily be configured while still seeing the current temperature at the same time. Here I am setting up the controller for the system's first clean to ready it for its first brew. Cleaning each of the stainless steel components as well as the full internals of the brewing system is a totally essential process before using any new brewing system. This is due to the fact that there will often be oils and other forms of residue that you really do not want to ruin your first brew with. This is not just the case with the BrewMonk. You will need to do this with any new system or any new component. My method here is to use a small amount of cleaner and fill up the brewing system with water, which is heated to 55 degrees Celsius. During the process of my cleaning, I was sure to add in all parts, as you can see here. It is also very important to run the pump for a while so that the recirculation arm and the pump itself are fully cleaned. After a cleaning cycle of about 15 minutes, I then gave the system and the various parts a rinse and recirculation with just heated water for 15 minutes too to finish off. This also gave me the opportunity to see how strong the pump was, and as you can see it looks to have some good force behind it, which is reassuring. Included with the BrewMonk is this piece of paper which has a QR code for full instructions in a large amount of different languages. I have been through these and everything is well laid out, and the system is certainly easy to use so far. So here is a look at the instructions in English while I talk about my initial feelings on what is coming next. At this very early point, I'm not really in a position to either recommend or not recommend these new BrewMonk systems. The reason for this is quite simply that I have only spent a handful of hours with the B40 unit at this stage, and I have not gone further than having a good look around it and giving it its first clean. So what comes next is a selection of brews that will test this system to explore both its potential strengths and weaknesses. I will certainly come with content that shows this in the future. Also coming in the future will be a comparison video that pitches the BrewMonk B40 unit against its most popular rivals in the marketplace and how it stacks up against them. Due to the simple fact that no one brewing system is suitable for everyone, I will also include details of the type of brewer each is suited for in my usual style, so certainly there is plenty to look forward to here. I do hope that you found this video useful, informative and interesting. If so, why not consider liking and subscribing? For further support you can join the channel's Facebook group, and if you would like to support the channel then check out the channel's merchandise store, as all profits go back into the channel. Until next time, happy brewing!